don't just want the news, they want the truth. What others hide, I bring to you with evidence. Politics, corruption, human rights. No filters, no fear, just facts. I don't stop until the system shakes. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Makhdoom Shahabuddin and this is Trending Daily. Tonight we break down one of the most important and least understood realities of India's modern politics. How military failure turned into digital warfare and how disinformation became the most powerful weapon in the Modi government's arsenal. This is the story of Operation Sindoor, India's covert military embarrassment, and how that failure was immediately repackaged into hate, fake news, and propaganda targeting both Muslims and Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, in early 2025, India launched what it called Operation Sindoor, a so-called decisive action against so-called terror networks. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh claimed the operation reflected India's military capability and moral resolve. But in reality, Sindoor turned into a strategic embarrassment. Critical analysts, even within India, labeled it a covert failure. Opposition leaders mocked it as chatpat, meaning a minor, meaningless action. So what do you do when the facts don't fit your narrative? You create new facts. Within weeks of the operational setback, India's ruling party shifted gears from warfare to narrative control. In the fifth domain, the information war, India lost completely. While Pakistan's ISPR immediately seized global attention with rapid updates and visuals, India had no coherent messaging, no verified footage, and no narrative control. Analysts later concluded India's strategic messaging was hijacked before it could stabilize. In desperation, Modi's team pivoted, not toward introspection, but toward scapegoating, and thus began the weaponization of disinformation. From mid-2024 to mid-2025, over 1,087 verified fake news cases were recorded in India targeting Muslims and Pakistan. Doctored videos, Photoshop terror cells, fake stories of Pakistani plots. The goal? Shift the anger of the Hindu majority base from a military failure to manufactured enemies, both at home and abroad. Indian Muslims were vilified, Pakistan was demonized, and the BJP's digital machinery, the same one exposed by EU Disinfo Lab, went into full operation. Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't random social media chatter. It was an organized campaign. The BJP's digital cell operates as a troll army, mobilizing thousands of coordinated accounts to intimidate journalists, attack critics, and promote communal hate speech. Journalists like Swati Chaturvedi have documented how this network spreads fear and silence. And the result? A direct link between online hate and offline violence. From mob lynchings in India to the Leicester riots in the UK, Operation Sindoor failed militarily, but politically, it became somehow a success story for hate. Ladies and gentlemen, beyond propaganda, India's state institutions now reinforce discrimination. Anti-conversion laws weaponized against Christians, police raiding mobs instead of protecting victims, and courts releasing convicted rapists from the 2002 Gujarat riots, a program called State-Sponsored Terrorism by Independent Observers. This isn't nationalism, it's institutionalized persecution, legitimized by fake news and judicial silence. Ladies and gentlemen, the EU Disinfo Lab uncovered what it called the Indian Chronicles, a massive 15-year-long disinformation network run by the group supported by Indian regime. Over 750 fake media outlets, dead NGOs came to speak at the UN Human Rights Council, and fake op-eds quoted by India's largest news agency ANI. This system launders lies, from fake European think tank articles to prime time news on Indian TV. It's propaganda with a passport, a global network weaponized to demonize Pakistan and legitimize Modi's domestic politics. The result? India's internal hate has gone global. Diaspora networks carry disinformation abroad, fueling civic unrest in Western cities and exporting intolerance beyond borders. This is no longer a domestic strategy. It's a transnational hybrid campaign built on fake news, political fear, and ideological extremism. Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Sindoor exposed the truth about the Modi government, that when military strategy fails, propaganda fills the void. Over 1,000 fake stories, hundreds of hate crimes, one global disinformation network, all to cover one failure. This is not just India's internal problem, it's a global warning. Because when a state learns to rule through lies, truth itself becomes the battlefield. I'm Makhdoom Shahabuddin and this was Trending Daily. Stay informed because understanding propaganda is the first step to defeating it.